Do not confuse this with treatment or mental health advice or direction. Nothing on this podcast is made to supplement or supersede the relationship and direction of your mental health caretakers. Although David Kozlowski is a licensed marriage and family therapist, he is not functioning as a certified mental health professional in this environment. And same applies to any professional who may appear on the OG Therapy podcast. Welcome to the OG Therapy.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of OG Therapy, and today we got a little special topic for you. If you've been noticing in the last episodes, we've been talking a little bit about questions I've been getting from people in regards to relationships. Last one was with a sibling and with their older sibling. Before that was older sibling, how to get your younger sibling to be cooler, how to be cooler to them. Well, today's episode, we're going to talk about a very specific relationship that only happens at a certain time in a family's life. And the time of life this happens is when a family has a preteen boy and a dad that likes to be in control and likes to be more of that authoritarian type of parenting figure. So what usually happens is kid growing up, let's say you got a little boy, he's younger, dad stands over him like, you better do what I tell you or else. And the intimidation and that forceful type of parenting approach, it causes the kid to be scared of his dad. It causes his kid to be like, oh my gosh, like if dad's coming home, I better clean my room, better do stuff. And so throughout their whole childhood, it can be pretty effective for getting your kid to move and to do things. But when adolescence comes knocking and testosterone starts being injected into this little boy's body, the little boy sometimes starts to stick his chest out a little bit. Starts to talk with his chest, starts to be a little bit testing the old man, testing the old line to see if he still got it. Sometimes I want to wrestle with the dad. Sometimes, it'll be just verbal and he'll talk back. And then dad say, you talking back to me? And then the boy's like, maybe he doesn't say, yeah, I am, but like, no, you're talking to me like that first. And then it gets to kind of go back and forth with each other. Well, I've talked to a lot of moms, and this time of life really starts to worry them and scares them, especially if the mother wasn't raised with brothers that were physically, getting into it all the time. So whenever I see a father that has that type of authoritarian parenting style, and I see a son who's like, I'm not cool with this no more, or I'm up for the challenge, I always like to insert a couple ideas to the dad. So this is for all you fathers out there who don't want to let go of the simple reality that you're not 21 years old anymore. Your son may actually end up being bigger and stronger than you. And by the time he gets bigger and stronger than you might be too old to physically intimidate him anymore. Your dad bod may not be as intimidating as your younger body. Let's put it that way. Those scowls, those looks of like, oh, I'm not going to buy you your Xbox or whatever. That may not be as effective when maybe your kid starts to get a job. Maybe they are a real teenager and they start to be able to make their own money and handle their own business, pay for their own phone. Now, granted, not a lot of you people are going to have that scenario because there's not a lot of teenagers nowadays that are out there working really hard, paying for all their own stuff, as soon as they can. But what I'm getting at is for all you mothers out there that are getting scared and nervous about this, for all you dads that realize, hey, my tactics of being intimidating and using that style is not really working all that well and it's causing problems in our relationship, and you notice you're losing control instead of gaining control of a situation, just remember this simple saying. The only way to gain control of any situation is to voluntarily give up the excessive want of control of that situation. See, if you want to control a situation like this between you and your son, you're already starting in the negative. Relationships with people that are adults, specifically people that are going to become adults, these are opportunities for you to build certain social contracts with people, certain agreements that if they do something, you're going to do something. These are partnerships. These aren't, I'm the boss and you're the employee. So any dad out there that thinks that their teenage boy is just going to sit there and bend the knee and do everything that they want them to do, you're sadly mistaken. Because even if your boy does do the things you want him to do, he will hold resentment and he will find different things that he can get underneath your skin or things that he can sabotage that are really important to you. Let's say, you got some real big event and you want him to show up for because people at your company are going to be there and you want your whole family to be there. What if he just ghosts you and doesn't show up and embarrass you? Maybe it's an event where you're getting an award. Everybody notices that your son's not there. There's little petty things, and there's also passive aggressive things. If you're not too familiar with what petty means, there's a lot of passive aggressive ways that teenagers can get even with their parents. But as your son starts to get a little bit more assertive, bold, those passive aggressive things can turn into aggressive things. I hate to admit this, but it's true. I've worked with a lot of teen boys and dads that have gotten into physical altercations. It's scary for the family, it's scary for the mom, the kids. In some cases, it was actually pretty traumatizing. I've had a couple cases where the son beat the crap out of the dad. And one case in particular, dad kind of deserved it. I was not happy. I had to report it. Nonetheless, the cops didn't do anything because they're like, hey, 15-year-old got the best of his dad, and the dad threw the first punch and started it. Dad shouldn't have started a fight. The dad actually got in trouble for it. He was the one that had to deal with the police and go to anger management counseling and had some legal issues because of it, even though he lost the fight. As you can see, this situation, if you got two bulls locking horns inside your household, that's a lose-lose for everybody. The whole family is going to be, in a different spot because of that, especially if it gets pretty violent. So in order to prevent something like this happening, I'm going to talk to you guys, specifically you dads out there. So moms, if you're listening to this podcast, you're like, man, I really want to share this with my husband. This is time that you got to figure out a way to convince him to listen to this. If he's one of those husbands where you're like, hey, if you listen to this podcast, we can go here, do that, or whatever, whatever you got to do, moms out there, use healthy manipulation to get your husbands to listen to this, because this could be pretty traumatic and pretty bad if it doesn't get put in check pretty quickly. Here's what I want you to do, dads. Not after an altercation, but before a big altercation even happens, I want you to take this first step. I want you to pull your son aside and say, hey man, let's go hang out. Let's go do something together. We haven't had me and my son, we call it dude time. And we haven't had a lot of dude time lately. And, maybe your son's like, oh, I don't know. I'll go hang out with my friends. No. We're going to hang out. Friday night, you're not doing nothing. Wednesday night, whatever it is, we're going to go grab a bite to eat at our favorite spot. So you set up a little time for it's just the two of you, get alone from everyone else. Then you got to prepare yourself, dads. Now, you don't have to do this next step, but if you do it, it's going to go way better and you're going to feel like you learned a lot from this experience. What I want you to do is, first of all, take your pride, pour it over a glass of rocks, swish it around a little bit, and drink it. And how you're going to do that is you're going to take your cell phone. So this is how you're going to take your pride. You're going to take your cell phone, you're going to flip it around. So just, you can see, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can just see the back camera, the back of your phone. You don't want to be able to see your face. And what you're going to do is you're going to press record and put on airplane mode so nobody throws off the recording. Put on airplane mode, press record, and I want you to practice telling your son what I'm about to say. And the reason why I want you to practice this, because you got to go back and look at this on the film. You got to watch the video of it. So what you're going to do is you're going to tell your son, hey son, listen, the reason why I want to meet with you and I want to talk with you is because I realize that, it's been kind of getting edgy between the two of us. And, just kind of give a little background information about what you've been noticing. Just kind of speak about like an observation. Notice you've been getting mad at me. Notice you've been rolling your eyes at me a lot when I ask you to do things. And then as you're saying this, tell your son, hold on a second. Like, by the way, what I'm about to tell you, what I'm telling you right now, I'm not mad. I'm not pissed off. Look at me. I'm totally chill. I'm totally cool. I'm saying it just as like an observation. And then you need to finish that thought with this sentence. And that's the reason why I want to talk to you, because I realize the reason why you're doing that is because of me. I'm the one who's actually causing you to be like that. Now, time out for a second, guys. Even if you don't believe what I just said, like if you're like, hey, listen, I say this to my kid, it's totally lying. My kid's giving me attitude. He's giving me this, and that, and the other. He's been super aggressive, blah, 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 with the siblings and trying to boss everybody around. Ask yourself, where did he get that from? And let's say you as a dad say, well, he didn't get it from me. He's just like my wife. Okay, well, you married her. You're in a relationship with her. You have kids with her. You figured out how to work these things out with her. And I'm pretty sure you've had to apologize to your wife sometimes for mistakes you've made. So I just want you dads to get yourself in that mindset, like put yourself in that role, in that character that you're going to tell your son that a lot of the things he's doing, you've actually started, you created it, and you didn't mean to do it. So it's an admission, like, hey, son, like, I know a lot of these things you're doing, you're getting tired, you're getting irritated with me, boss you around, stuff like that. And I want to blame you. I want to get pissed off at you. I want to be like, well, you're giving me attitude. But I decided to think about myself of like, what have I been doing to just be cool and chill? And maybe I haven't been cool and chill all these years. Maybe I'm trying to be nice and friends with them now, but now maybe you're actually giving me the attitude that you felt I deserved because I was giving you attitude all those times. So I tell you what, son, I'm gonna make an effort right here, right now, that I'm gonna work on these three things. Now, pick three things that your son's always complaining about. You're not gonna say you be perfect at them. You said, I'm gonna get better at those. And because I'm gonna work harder and get better at those, I truly believe that if I'm doing these things, there'll be less reason for you to give me attitude. Now, after your husband says that, or dads, if you're listening, after you say that, I want you to state a simple truth and fact. And again, I want you to pour another glass of your pride, swish around the rocks, and swirl it down. A lot of guys like to think as if, like, oh, yeah, my son, like, he just needs his ass kicked, or he just needs that. Some guys still talk like that. Some guys still think like that, like, he just needs to do that. So I need to stick out my chest and I need to intimidate him and I need to let him know that I don't have time for his BS. When I want something done, it needs to be done. I don't need to give him reasons, excuses, anything like that. He just needs to do it. And I'm going to enforce it with intimidation. I want you to tell your son, say, hey, listen, I've just been doing what was done to me. My dad did that to me. And I can say with confidence, most guys that are like that, they had someone in their life, their mom, their dad, foster parent, whoever it is, someone did that to them. And they thought in order to be taken serious, you got to be aggressive and you got to be confident and controlling. Well, the problem with that is when you're aggressive, confident, controlling, people will follow you. But as they're following you, they're talking trash behind your back the whole entire time. They're not following you because they want you to be their leader. They're following you because they feel like they have no choice. You're paying for the bills. You got the power. You got control. So they're just being subservient to you, but they're not going along with you because they want to go along with you. So dads, when you approach this with your kids, it's got to be an admission. It's got to be like, I realize I've done these things to set you off in this particular time. So now, step two, now I want you to be able to know that I'm going to be working on these three things. Also, son, I'm being serious. If there's something that you think that if I did more often with the way I communicate with you, the way I communicate with mom, your sisters, whoever it is, will you do me a favor and will you tell me? Because I actually want to work on it. At this point, your son's like, heck yeah, great, awesome. They may be a little like giving you those like kind of side eyes, like, wait, what's he talking about? I was like, is this for real? Is this serious? Whatever. And then after that, you say nothing else except this. So I'm going to work on that for the next week or two. And I just want you to see, I'll ask you in a week or whatever if you've noticed any difference at all. Well, throughout that week or throughout those 2 weeks, you can count on one thing happening. When your son sees you making those efforts, he's going to be paying attention. But when he sees you making those efforts, he's not going to congratulate you. Or not likely he's going to say, Dad, I'm so proud of you. You're being so much nicer now. Now I feel like I can tell you all my deepest, darkest secrets. Now I feel like you're my best friend who can open up. No, usually what's going to happen is they're going to be a little suspicious, a little unsure, and they're going to test you a little bit. When you're nice to him, he's going to be a jerk to you. He's going to pop off. He's going to say some things to test you to see if you're going to get out of character. Dads, here's how I want you to handle this. This is the final step. I want you to sit there, and when he gives you attitude, I want you to smile and look at him like, hey, bud, I get it. I'm like, what do you mean you get it? It's like, I get it. You're puffing your chest out at me right now. You're standing up to me because I've probably come across as being like that bully, that kind of like, talk down to you type of dad for a long time. I totally get it. You're standing up to me. Hey, son, look at me. You're right. I shouldn't have talked to you that way. I got a little upset. I apologize. My bad. Thanks for calling me out on that. Then walk away. At the end of the week or two, go to your son and say, hey, son, tell me honestly, like, did you notice any improvements? Was I being cooler? Was I being more understanding? Or was I being really controlling, demanding? Like, because you saw me mad a couple times this past week. I thought I handled a lot better. When the feedback from your son comes, it depends on the situation, what type of mood he's in. If he's got to go hang out with his friends, he may not want to give you a lot of feedback. But if you time it just right, you should get a lot of feedback like, yeah, I've noticed a couple things, or yeah, I appreciate this, Dad. Them giving you that feedback is just their way of saying, hey, like, I notice it, I appreciate it. However, I'm a little hesitant to just be all in. You can't expect your kid just because you've made some changes for a couple weeks, or for them to be like, oh my gosh, like now our relationship's totally different. Now I'm going to stop giving you attitude. But here's what you're going to do in return. Throughout the week, as you're being cooler, as you're being more understanding, and throughout the subsequent months, even after that, whenever your kid starts to puff out their chest, starts to give you that same type of posturing type of thing that you would typically do to your kid, I want you to sit there. I want you to get small with your body, like lower your shoulders. Put your hand, if it's appropriate at that moment, put your hand on your shoulders, on your son's shoulder. Hey, bud, like, I get it. I get why you're mad. You're upset. You're angry. I totally get it. And could you do me a favor and just like, I'm trying to be cool right now. Maybe next time when you tell me I'm stupid or I made a mistake, whatever, could you maybe do that? Like when no one else is around, so it's not so embarrassing. Because I just really appreciate that. I want you to be negotiable, understanding, and I want you to give a bunch of passes to your kid. The only way to run this back and to just to untangle all the aggressive approaches that you've had on your son, that you've given to your son throughout the years, is to show him that when he gives you those aggressive approaches back, that you're not going to be defensive. You're not going to take it personal. Now, if it stings really bad, because sometimes I've had some teenage boys really go hard in the paint on their dads and like, yeah, well, you're always doing this, and really just unload all their anger and frustrations with their dad. The dads that I've coached will sit there and they'll be like, okay, son, well, like I told you, I wanted you to be honest with me. I wanted you to tell me how you really thought and felt about me in general. And you definitely did that. I'll be honest, it was kind of hard to hear, with the F-bombs or with the type of stuff you're saying. Although, if that's how you feel, I'd rather you tell me how you feel in a raw form, because I can take it. I'm a grown man. And also, I want to be a better father. So if I didn't let you tell me what was really bothering you, then how am I supposed to know exactly what I need to do to change? So thanks for letting me know what's going on. Now, next time I would appreciate it if you didn't curse so much, or if you try to make it less personal. But I get it. You've been worked up, and I haven't been nice to you too often in the past. So I totally get it. Give your son a pass at that particular time. Everybody listening to this podcast, I've taught this to so many dads. A lot of dads would give me pushback like, well, when I was a kid, like, my dad never did that to me. And if I would have talked to my dad like that, I would have got my beep, beaten and stuff like that. And I always sit there and go, yeah, okay, yeah. When they're done, I'm like, okay, so you're going to do it or you're not going to do it? Because really, you either keep on doing what you're doing or you do something different. The different that I'm suggesting is a different that helps connection. Is like the signs of a great leader. Great leaders aren't always right. Great leaders are the first one to admit when they made mistakes so they can go make up for it. The quicker you acknowledge that you make a mistake, specifically for dads that are being jerks or being, like posturing and kind of being bullies a little bit at times, those dads, the sooner that they can change their behavior and talk to their kids and say, hey, listen, I used to act like that. That was wrong of me. I'm going to act this way now. The sooner your kids see that, the sooner they can question how they're handling their frustrations and their anger. Everybody knows that bullies have been bullied, right? Everybody that's a bully has experienced being bullied in some way, shape, or form. That's how they learned it. So if you want your kid to give you the same smoke that you've been giving them with that attitude throughout the years, that's easy to do. Just be a jerk to them until they become a teenager and the testosterone kicks in. Then they'll give you attitude back, and you either have to be their friend and be their buddy and be, I'm sorry, son, because you're scared that your son's not going to want to hang out with you anymore. Or you're going to have to continue and double down and being a hard ass. Or third, you're going to have to take a suggestion like my approach, which, by the way, I think you should take my approach, because my approach is the partnership approach. You can shame your kid all day long. It's only going to get you so far. You can coddle them and you can nerf every single corner in their life so that everything's padded and soft for them. Or you can be their partner. If you're their partner, you can work with them throughout the rest of your life. You can ask them for advice and they can ask you for advice. But if you're the one that has the keys to every vehicle, literally and figuratively, like nothing gets turned on, nothing happens unless you allow it, and you have a teenage boy, you're not handing over the keys to them figuratively and literally when they become 16 years old and get their license, you're going to be scared to give them a car. You're not going to want to give them that because your relationship is not solid. When you send your sons out to the world, if you have a close connection with them and they know they can call you no matter what, and that there's nothing that they can't share with you, or at least that they can't like start to at least break the ice with you because you've proven that you can handle difficult things, you're not going to freak out about it. If you have that relationship with your kid, there's no reason for you and your son to get an altercation because your ego will not allow it. Well, you guys, that's the episode for today. As always, follow us on all social media platforms under OG Therapy, and also Social Health Initiative on Instagram and on TikTok. And until next time, be cool.